If you go on to enjoy the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. It does really help me out a lot. And if you're into Funko Pops, I've just started a brand new channel dedicated to them. The link for that can be found in the description. And beat the random lottery that is FIFA points by buying the coins direct from u7buy.com. Use code TVM at checkout for a 5% discount, or if you're a new customer, get 8% discount. The link is down below. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to a brand new video, and not a video that I ever expected to make. Not because I didn't think it would ever happen, but more that I just didn't see it coming. They've talked about it for ages, and it's just been one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be interesting, and it just never sort of really had any legs. And then I just completely out of the blue, for me personally anyway, bam, 12 clubs have joined a Super League, and they will be leaving Champions League, Europa League competition. There's going to be this, that, and the other going on. And it is going to send, like, quite literally shockwaves down from the very top of not just English football, or British football I should say, because there are Welsh teams in there as well, but around the world of football as well. You know, there's every league is going to be affected by this in one way or another. And of course, if you don't know what I'm talking about, because there are going to be some people out there who don't really, you know, follow any sort of social media, don't watch any news, and have just been going about their day, and maybe have heard a little bit about the ESL, which is being called the European Super League. Essentially, 12 clubs so far, more to follow. I think it's actually more than 12 now. I think it might even be 13, because I think Schalke signed up to it this morning, which is absolutely laughable. But we'll get on to that. Essentially, what it is teams from certain leagues splitting off from the Champions League and the Europa League, and I know that there's more to say about that, and I'll get onto that in a minute, going into their very own league system that isn't sanctioned by UEFA or the FA. It is a sort of a third party setting it up. They are being promised millions upon millions. In fact, I think the figure of 3.5 billion has been bandied about a little bit here or there, not for each individual club, but you know, between all of them, which equates to something like 300-400 million, maybe even a little bit more. Whereas in the Champions League, for winning the Champions League, you get 150 million, I think. And now, don't quote me on that, because that's just from what I've seen in a few places here or there. Maybe I'm making the figure up, I don't know. But if you win it, you get 150. Just for being in this European Super League, you will receive 300-400 million just for being there, regardless of where you finish. I'm not even sure there's going to be different prizes for where you finish, because all of these founding clubs are going to be in there forever. They can't get relegated. They can't get promoted. They are there, and that's it. That's the end of it. Whether they'll bring in promotion and relegation in the future, like if this is a success and then they bring in other divisions beneath and then they decide to do that, but maybe the founding clubs can't ever get relegated, I don't understand how it's going to work. Either way, so the question I had, and I'm sure a lot of people have, is, well, is this going to affect domestic competition, or is this quite literally the Champions League and the Europa League? And from what I can tell, it is just to replace, and I would say replace, the Champions League and the Europa League is still going to be there. It's just that the teams like Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City, and all the other teams, Juventus, Real Madrid, that have signed up for this, they won't be included in the Champions League or the Europa League. But is my understanding that they want to continue to participate in their own domestic division. So, for example, Liverpool want to be in the European Super League, but they also want to play in the Premier League. Now, the sticking point is the FA and UEFA don't want that to happen, and FIFA in general don't want that to happen at all. And I think what's going to have to happen here is that the clubs are going to have to make a choice. Either they go and join the European Super League, where they get to play against each other, and of course, you know, Real Madrid, Barcelona's, and all the teams that have joined up to it so far, or they stay in the domestic competition and they're allowed to play Champions League. They're also obviously in the Premier League. So the way that I see it is they're going to get given an ultimatum. Either you go and leave and you join the Super League, and that's it. You can't play Champions League, you can't play Premier League or Serie A, La Liga, and so on and so forth, and you are stuck in the European Super League by yourselves, or reject it and come back to us and you'll have all the same system. There is a Champions League shake-up reported to be underway as well, where I think they're going to extend the competition from 32 to 36 teams, something like that. But they also, which is, it's laughable, right? Because this whole it's almost like an elitist attitude to this Europa League, European Super League, where, you know, these clubs think that they're better than anybody else because they've called it the European Super League, and no one said these are the best clubs in their respective divisions. I mean, Liverpool aren't in the top 4, Tottenham aren't in the top 4, so why have Leicester and West Ham not been invited? So they've sort of made themselves, you know, the European elite, if you will. Now, I know Liverpool are a European powerhouse. I'm a Liverpool fan, by the way. I'm absolutely devastated that this is even considering happening, but there we are. What does that mean for the world of football? Well, if everyone gets their way and the European Super League gets underway and is actually a thing, if it means that these teams leave their domestic competitions and the Premier League, you know, now will be consisting of everyone other than Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Spurs and Arsenal, and you get 6 or 7 teams come up from the bottom, from in the Championship, maybe the 3 that are going down this season, maybe they don't, maybe they get a reprieve and they stay in the division this season. And because this is set to happen in August, you know, the president of this European Super League wants this to kick off in August, which is, I mean, I know it's April, but that's not long. You know, the season has got, what, 7 or 8, 9 games left? And then after that, you've got the Euros, which, by the way, may not happen the way we thought it was going to happen. I mean, it's already not going to, but it could be, this could send ramifications onto international competition as well, because again, the governing bodies that be have said teams who participate in the European Super League, or players rather who participate in the European Super League, will not be able to partake in international duty, and that includes the Euros and the World Cup. So, for example, Harry Kane plays for Spurs in the European Super League, will not be eligible to play for England because he plays in the European Super League, which is, I mean, it's harsh, but at the same time, I can more than understand why that is being done. It's to try and put up as many barriers, obstacles, and inconveniences as possible to stop this from going ahead. The president of the European Super League has said, so what if the World Cup or these players can't go to the World Cup? We'll make our own World Cup. Now that just, I mean, that was unreal. I can't believe he said that. But that he actually said that. So, yeah, it's a lot of information. And, of course, we don't know the ins and outs of everything just yet. But as of right now, it is 5 o'clock on the nose, and the information that we have so far is that, well, I mean, the solid information that we have so far is that these teams who join the European Super League will not be eligible to play in the Champions League and the Europa League. We don't actually know fully if they won't be allowed to play in the Premier League. It looks like they won't be able to. And all of these clubs that have signed up for it have put out club statements saying that they have signed up for it. They have every intent of going through with it. So even though this kind of, you know, it's that feeling of, oh, I can't see it happening. It is. You know, it is actually happening. They have put the wheels in motion. This is actually a thing that is happening right now. And at the speed of which it's going, I would not be surprised if by later on this evening, tomorrow maybe, we didn't know for sure that these clubs were going to get kicked out of the current European competition. Man City are favourites to win the Champions League this year. They may be kicked out of it, and in fact I think they probably are, because there was a statement released last night saying that these teams are now banned from these competitions. And of course, because they're still in it doesn't mean they have a God-given right to actually play it. If they've been kicked out, they've been kicked out. So I don't think any of the teams, you know, Man United in the Europa League, Man City, I think Chelsea is still in the Champions League, I don't think they're going to be able to participate, you know. So there is every chance that PSG will just be given the title automatically, because I think they're the only team left in the Champions League that are not going into the European Super League. Cannot believe, of all teams, I would have put PSG at the top of the very top of the list of teams who would have signed up for this. But it turns out they have far more integrity than the likes of Liverpool, who have, I mean, over 100 years history in this competition, and they want out of it. It is absolutely shocking. Now, what does this mean for other things, not just for the Premier League and La Liga and all the other leagues and the Champions League? What does it mean for FIFA in general, the game FIFA? It means that if this goes ahead and FIFA, UEFA, FA and everyone, they all get their way, not get their way, but they all, you know, punish these clubs to the extent of the law, which they've said in a statement that they will do, which is going to be to kick them out of the league, by the way, because it does say that you can't enter, in the rules of the Premier League, it says you cannot enter into another league competition while being registered in this current league competition. So unless they change the ruling, which I'm sceptical they will, it looks like that they will kick all 6 of these clubs out of the Premier League, which is just absolutely unreal to even fathom. But there we are. Leicester are going to be winning the league every year, which is crazy. But yeah, if that happens, they will not be licensed under FIFA anymore. Therefore, they will not be in FIFA. You know, FIFA 22 will be released in 5 months or whatever it is. May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, 5, maybe 6 months. And it may not contain Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United, Man City, and all the players that go with it as well. And you say, oh, they'll just buy the rights. They won't, because obviously it's controlled by FIFA themselves. And if FIFA themselves don't want anything to do with this, which they've said they don't already, there's no way that they will allow EA to go and buy the rights to all of these players and the new Super League. Meaning that they just won't be, and it won't even be that they're Piemonte Calcio or Merseyside Red, they just won't be in the game full stop. They will, like the Brazilian League hasn't been in FIFA for a number of years, and its licensing and the reason why I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know that FIFA don't want the license for certain reasons. That will happen for these clubs in the Premier League. So you can fully expect PES to jump on this and to include all of those teams, because they have the rights to Juventus, and that's why Juve are known as Piemonte Calcio in FIFA, they're known as Zebra in Football Manager, and they are known as Juventus Football Club in PES, because they have the sole rights to Juventus. They also have club rights to, I think, Liverpool. They have had Man United for a long time. I don't know whether they did this season just gone, because of all the COVID stuff. I'm really not sure how the licensing has worked, because PES didn't release a new game. This year they plan to, and I put money on it that they will have the European Super League, and they will go for it. And obviously they've got a My Club mode. They would have had 2 years to develop that. And with the European Super League in there and all these big teams, more and more people are going to flock to PES, leaving FIFA in a bit of a precarious situation. Because even though people will still buy the game and they'll still play it, people will miss the big players. That is going to be a problem. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Of course, real football is the thing that takes precedent here. As a Liverpool fan myself, just to give you my personal opinion very briefly before we end this video, I am devastated that we have got to this point. Even if all these clubs decide, do you know what, we don't want to do it after all. If we're going to get kicked out of the league and we can't just do this to replace the Champions League, forget it, we won't do it. Even then, I have lost any shred of confidence that I have in the owners of, not just Liverpool, but every single one of the clubs that have signed up for it. I have no respect for any of them anymore. And even as a fan, yes, I want to see Liverpool win. We play Leeds tonight. Yes, I want to win that game. But at the same time, I have lost so much respect for the club. Not the manager, not the players, because they don't have a say in it, but the owners and everyone involved in running the club who agreed to this, even in principle. I have lost any admiration and respect that I ever had, and I am going to find it very, very difficult to support the club in general, even if this doesn't go ahead. But if it does go ahead, and the worst case scenario actually comes to fruition, and that is that Liverpool leave the Premier League, they join the ESL, and they don't participate in, they won't be in the FA Cup, they won't be in the League Cup, they won't be in the League, they won't be in the Champions League, or the Europa League, or European Super Cup, or World Club Cup. They will just be in the European Super League. If that is the case, I honestly don't know how I can go on supporting the club, because I don't care anymore. I have lost all interest in it. And that might you call me a plastic fan all you want, but as a football fan in general, not just a Liverpool fan, this is a very, very, very sad outcome. And I cannot believe what has happened today. It is unreal. And I mean, there's so many more things that I haven't even touched upon, such as, what a time to do it. There are people out there who can't put food on the table. There are people out there who have been sacked by these football clubs. And, one of those is the Arsenal mascot, for example, was surplus to requirements because there's no fans in the stadium, so they don't need a mascot. They sacked him, and now they're about to sign, and they knew full well that this was coming. This isn't an overnight decision. They have known about this for a long time, and they've been given this proposal, I would say, well over a year ago, if not even longer. They knew that they were about to inherit 350 million plus from this deal. And yet they've gone, oh, sorry, Mr. Mascot, that probably costs us 20 grand a year. We're going to sack you because we can't afford you, as well as a load of other staff. But we are going to accept this £350 million deal. And that is a season, by the way. 350 million a season. Absolutely outrageous. One final thing. Bayern and Dortmund, if you're a fan of one of those clubs, you are, or even if you are quite literally Bayern Munich watching this now, you are an absolute legend. Dortmund the same, because they have rejected it. They do not want any part of it because they are mainly, I think, 51% fan owned, and that is, that's amazing because you are going to get to retain most of what football is all about. Leipzig are going, but they're sort of built on money anyway, so there's absolutely no surprise there. And this morning, Schalke have signed up to this. Now, I don't actually blame Schalke anywhere near as much. I mean, I do it, but I don't. But I don't blame them anywhere near as much as I do Liverpool, Man United, Spurs, Man City, so on and so forth. Why? Because Schalke are bottom of the Bundesliga. They are going down without a shadow of a doubt, and they are in financial turmoil right now, as far as I can tell. They need this more than anyone. And, they're going into a league that's called the European Super League. They can't even get off the bottom of the Bundesliga. That is going to be an absolute mess. If that happens, if the European Super League eventually does go ahead and it does kick off in August, and Schalke is part of that, yes, they're going to have this 350 million. They will be able to go out and strengthen, but they're not going to be able to strengthen to compete with the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and all these other clubs that are joining. It is going to be a bloodbath. And you can't call it a Super League if you're inviting bottom of the league clubs. No disrespect to Schalke, but they've been awful this season. How have they even remotely got an invite? I'll tell you why. Every other club, apart from Leipzig, every other club in that division have said no. Schalke are that desperate that they've said yes. Unreal. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you happy this is happening? Are you thinking, well, everyone's blowing this out of proportion? I don't really care about it. A chance to see all these teams go head to head every single week. The Champions League is special because it's not every week. The Champions League is special because we can look forward to this once a year where your team will play another, giant in Europe. If you get that far and you didn't expect to, and now all of a sudden you've been drawn against Barca, what an absolute special occasion it is for that to happen. If I'm playing Barcelona, Real Madrid, and all these other clubs week in, week out, it is going to get very stale very quick. There's no relegation, there's no promotion, there's just no excitement there. That is my stance. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, I don't know why you would have done. I'd be seething right now. I am, to be honest. My fists are clenched. Then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.